Hey, all, just wanted to make a final update video for Dreadclaws here. I don't think we're going to be taking it any farther in terms of theory crafting. Sanctum has found pretty much everything there can be to find, and we've put it to as much of a test as we can. Um, the most recent find being the freeze tech. Believe that was found in the rogue chat and introduced to us by someone in the warlock chat who will have remain anonymous as he is not given permission for that. So going on to some gear here. Litany. That is still rock solid. We've done all the testing in the world with Grandfather, including with gem strength. As you can see, I have it here and I have it at a very good value. Litany is better. I put on this Litany with a good focus before I got gem strength on it, and it was still better. It's smoother. The build just feels more comfortable to play. You do roughly the same amount of damage, and then you get gem strength and you're doing even more damage, and you're firing the extra claws as well, which are, as far as we can tell, fully buffed by everything that's buffing your main claw casts. So you definitely want to be on a Litany. My stat layout here is not amazing. I would much rather have some different affixes. Crit multi, for example, over weapon damage. Weapon damage is a very rough stat. It's point for point as an affix. It's not amazing. You would much rather have a multi. You would much rather even have willpower over weapon damage. Footfalls, same thing. I still never found something that was better than these 850s. I know people are probably going to have a little chuckle at it. These were still in the video 2 weeks ago. I spent a lot of time in escalations and even used some upgrade materials on white boots to try and hit decent footfalls. I never got lucky. I'm still stuck with these ones. And as you can see, they're very, very good. And I just never found 900s that were better. So the main crux about these is that you need the attacks reduce evades cooldown. That mod is absolutely required for, especially for pit and tower push. You can get away with having maximum evade charges instead if you're doing overworld stuff, Helltide and whatnot. For the rest of any other situation, you want this mod here. Pants, in Sanctum's guide, he still has temerity in both the push and optimized push versions. We kind of come to the agreement that it's basically a comfort-based pick where you are in the build. If you're min-maxing, if you're at that point, you're that far, you're pushing into, 125 to 130 with your claws build, you probably want to start looking into coagulation pants on with legendaries with Wrath regen. And then chest is Juggernaut. A few people have mentioned, why aren't we using Tyraels? I can't stress it enough. Tyraels is bait. Now, I have resistance here. I get it. People are going to, well, hey, you have resistance on that. It's a transfigure. It's just what I hit. It's point for point. Again, armor is way better than resistance. You get all of the resistance you need from your gems in your jewelry. And then maybe like here, for example, you get a single roll of all res, which probably still you don't really need. I think I would rather have an armor roll here. Again, at a 1-to-1 point value, it would be better. So going up to gloves here, crushing aspect on the gloves, you can have this either on your gloves or your focus. I have aggressive here and then crushing here. This is all damage all the time. This is not for defensive stats. This is not for main stat. This is not for core, anything like that. You want multi plus the claws. If you get 4 multis, that's fine too. All multi, vuln, crit, and shadow, perfect. Send it. Put it in the cube, brick the hell out of it. Back to the chest. Same thing as before. It's just maximum resource stacking. Armor and life roll. I hit a transfigure again, the res all. It's not a winning result, but it's not a losing result either. Very usable. My air is what I consider to probably be, I'd say probably the second or third best result you could get. With maybe crit chance being above it, and then willpower percent probably hovering right around there as well. Crit chance being based on where you are with your crit chance. I'm not capped right now. I'm at 92.5%. I found that to be absolutely comfortable. I would need to get more, and I'll go back to the point for point statement again. Anytime I plugged something into the calculator when it comes to a multiplier or anything like that, even adding the 7.5% crit, it's not beating it. In any case, it's not beating it. So 20 maximum resource is basically 15% multi because you're getting a buff from Seed of Horizon, which brings me to Seed of Horizon. So we've not changed anything here. We did some testing with Night Terror. It was really unwieldy. And this again is an 850 because I never found anything that was better than good vol, good crit. Unfortunately, that last mod was crit chance, and I lost that. I would have been at 100% otherwise. But every time I seem to get a good amulet, it seems to be an 850. I've got a couple in the stash that need to be rolled up with their aspects. I just don't have the attuned prisms to do it. And I haven't played in almost a week, so I never got around to finishing that particular aspect. That being said, I still pushed into the 130s. So it's not a singular, or in my case, 2 850 pieces that are going to hold you back from progressing quite far with claws. This is the interesting piece. So Signet of Pelgame. Someone in the lock chat popped in and said that he'd found some information from the rope chat about this ring and its multiplier. This multiplier seems to stack infinitely. There's no cap to it. As long as you can keep them frozen, you will stack this multiplier. The way that we were doing it, I don't have these runes in right now because for the sake of the video, I wanted to show off the proper defensive setup. But the way that you want to try and keep up freeze is actually changing your runes out. So you're going to be using Thul and okay. So Wolves freeze. It doesn't say it in the tooltip. I know it just says summon a Spirit Wolf companion. If you know Spirit Wolves, then freeze and Vuln as well. So in our case, we don't need the Vuln aspect, but we do want the freeze aspect. So they come up, they freeze everything. As long as you can keep things frozen, you will stack up Signet of Pelgame. My maximum hit now is 100 trillion. I saw 100T. And then on your other rune word, I have Nagu Prid right now. Because again, for defensive reasons, you want to have Dark Prison, so you're keeping Fortify up at all times and weakening. Stacking into Coagulation, so you're getting your damage reduction while you're fortified. You do keep a pretty decent freeze with just Wolves. It's not bad. I was still hitting higher numbers just with the Wolves than I was just using a normal legendary ring with an aspect. I still if you're farming, let's say 120, and it's taking you 5 or 6 minutes to finish a 120, you probably are able to slap in Thull and get that freeze as well, the Nova freeze as well, and speed clear those now. Absolutely speed clear them. You're probably going to cut 2.5 minutes off of your end time for a 120 if you're trying to power level your glyphs or something like that. Last piece, second last piece, Ring of Starless Skies. Pretty typical. Life on hit. I suggest having at least one roll somewhere. Try not to get it on your weapon. It's a nice value on your weapon, but you want other things on your weapon, multis and whatnot. So you can get it on a transfigure just about anywhere. I think I've seen it on a few different pieces now. So try and get one source of life on hit. And then your focus. This eventually, as we all know, we want gem strength. As you can see, this thing is kind of carrying my crit chance right now. I've been throwing focuses, or what was throwing focuses at the cube. I was doing them full inventories at a time. Never hit. Never got lucky. I didn't even hit gem strength, let alone getting lucky and hitting gem strength and then the chance to transfigure again. So that would be the end goal, would be to hit gem strength on both your weapon and your focus, and with all the luck in the world, getting the double. Gems, you want shadow damage multi, amethysts in both your focus and your weapon. You want sapphires in your pants. Well, whatever armor piece you decide you're going to have your open sockets in. And then your rune setups, as I mentioned, are going to be Nagu Prid, and assuming you're using Signet of Pelkane, Kier K. If you're not using Signet of Pelkane, I might still keep the wolves, to be plainly honest with you. Freeze is a very, very good defensive mechanic. It takes a lot of them pack out of a fight. If you've got a massive pack around you and wolves pop up, they're going to take care of a fair amount and put them in freeze. So if your stealth does happen to drop and things turn and hit you, you're not going to get absolutely mauled immediately, right? And then in your jewelry, I suggest 1 ruby, 1 emerald, 1 topaz. Pretty viable to do 2 topaz and 1 emerald and just drop the ruby entirely. For you APOC players out there, I don't suggest that. You guys can't see the floor very well, so you might want to have that extra cushion on fire. For anyone else that's got the visual clarity, lightning lunatics, for example, hurt. With 2 topaz, I can tank lunatics in 130s. Just as an example of how strong that much res in one single slot is. Like, I know I mentioned all res as a stat against armor to be a bit weak, but when you get 3,500 of a single res from what is not even a flawless gem yet, it's kind of hard to compete with that. So 2 of those, you get 7,000 lightning res, you get a ton of reduction against lightning, and hey, you're tanking lunatics now. I wouldn't tank multiple, but if you happen to eat one, it gives you time to recover instead of just immediately flopping to the floor. These have not changed. We're still using Horizon Chains and Nameless. I'm going to go over how the Nameless swap works in just a minute. You can see that I've got Bombardment on my bar right now. Diamond Mine still, you need this for the 2 sets. I never found another Mythic Seal. Not this one anyways, so I'm stuck with it. But I mean, it's not bad. 6.5 life is not... I'm not complaining about it. I'd like to have a useful mod on there, something that actually helps me out. But it's fine. I'll take life. As for affixes on the charms themselves, you want to have +4 to skills. Abyss or Demonology works. You're mainly wanting to buff Dreadclaws, and it eats on both. So you can take Demonology or Abyss. So it's kind of nice for when you're re-rolling your charms. You have 2 options for +4. As a secondary mod, you want to hit something like that. That's what I consider to be a GG one. It's pretty good. The other thing you can do is if you're Signet of Pelgain and you're doing that, bosses, as Sanctum had kind of educated us the other day, bosses need to have all of the debuffs put on them to properly get staggered. So what you can do is get lucky hit chance stagger mods. So let's see here. Do I have any of them on hand? Yeah, so here we go. Lucky hit, up to a 4% chance to daze for 2 seconds. So you can get that as your secondary mod as well. You're going to lose a bit of the res. I mean, this value is pretty all right as a single affix on a charm, where most of those secondary affixes aren't amazing. So you can kind of replace that res with a CC mod and get you some pretty big stagger on bosses, which will then help buff with your Signet of Pelgain. 1 all stat GA. The reason for this is I don't have a transfiguration that hit a all stat for me to cover my Paragon breakpoints. This 1 mod with GA on it was enough to cover my Paragon breakpoints with the rest of my gear and the Paragon board itself. If you have any questions about the Paragon board, you can refer to the link that I will leave in the description. It's for Sanctum's guide. He's got it very well laid out for both a push build, and if you're using the freeze version, what we've titled the optimized push build. Paragon board, everything there, 100% done by him. Dude's a genius. Put it together very, very well. You can see I have one of these freeze mods here. This is to support my freeze chance, just keeping it up for Signet of Pelgain. Again, skills are 1-to-1 with what we have in the last video. And then same with Paragon. What Sanctum has in his guide is what we've changed this to. It's a bit differently shaped now. We were doing the 1 up and then all the way to the right. So now this is attrition. We're going to put demonic spicules here. And then you're going to put unbound here. The big reason for this change is, and as I mentioned, I'm going to cover the bombardment thing with Sigil, Fathomless. So bombardment is constantly shooting out bomb demons. So they count as demons that are summoned, and it brings up Fathomless to its max and keeps it at its max, alongside you summoning Eyes and keeping Lawlish active. So to keep this going, casting a Sigil skill will unleash the ritual. This is a fully buffed Nameless. I want to stress here, this is not worded very well. So 100% X damage, which intensifies by up to 200% as the ritual nears its end. And then the ritual grants 20% damage reduction that intensifies with the ritual. So it's taking that same 200% buff. So what I want to stress here is that this is a 3x buff. It's not 2x, it's 3x. So you're getting 60% damage reduction and you're getting 300% X damage, a 300% multi. You can keep this up 100% of the time. The only time that it falls off is if you log out or if you die. Blizzard has stated that it's intended. They wanted it to be something that would be a lasting buff if you didn't press sigil again. I'm not sure if they intended it to be for us to be changing abilities off the bar, but I don't find there to be anything wrong with that. It's just a little bit unwieldy if you die. Just don't die, I guess, you know? So what you're going to do, you'll put sigil of summons on your bar, tap it once, it starts the ritual. Oh, I've ended my ritual here. Tap it, it starts the ritual. And now I'm ticking up towards that 300% and 60% damage reduction. So if I'm going into my stats here, you'll see my all damage reduction is slowly ticking up. So this is going to tick all the way up to 60%. I'm not going to make you guys sit here and watch that. But yeah, it's going to continue to tick up alongside my damage. So you'll see my toughness is continually going up. And then when you've got your sigil cast and the buff is ticking up so that you never hit it again and so that you're activating Fathomless at all times, you're just going to keep bombardment going. And it will just sit there. You can see demons are coming out. We're bombing. Getting stacks from... I'm not even doing anything. Bombardment is actually giving me Variana stacks as well. And then, yeah, you get your build up for Fathomless. So, rotation. Not much of a rotation. It's more of a spam, if anything. The only thing you're not really going to be touching is Rampage on a full-time basis. Claw, claw, step. Claw, claw, step. This is resetting your cooldown. So you can see my Rampage cooldown increasing, my eyes coming back up. The only button that you need to press on a consistent basis is keeping Bombard up. You'll have to press Lawlish every 8 seconds. Maintain your bombardment. And then when your ult comes back off cooldown, because as we've discussed prior, we kind of don't like that design. Your ult goes on cooldown after it's done its use, so you're kind of stuck waiting for the cooldown there. So you just use it as soon as it comes off cooldown again. Pretty simple stuff. I haven't really been paying attention to the numbers, but I can definitely see the 20 plus trillions coming up. 31 trill there. These are very basic. Just having the lucky hit chance freeze on the one charm there, and then the one rune. If I was to go full send on the freeze, you'd see that stack up a lot higher, and I would start getting towards those 100 trill crits. For sake of time, I'm not going to do that whole setup. Build's pretty much done, as we said. Attack speed breakpoints are the only thing that really need to be dove into, but we haven't really found much info on it as far as change. I did a bit of testing myself and didn't really find a whole lot, so we'll look into it more next season maybe. But for now, we're pretty happy with where Claw got to. If you guys have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments, or you can find me in the D4 Discord. Have a good day, everybody.